Hey, howdy ho, Lions fans. Welcome to the Detroit Lions podcast training camp report with my good friend Case and I. How are you? I'm Chris. Case, nice to see you.
Yeah.
What are we drinking today?
Oh, it's another local brew. It is a Micus IPA from Black Rocks Brewery
Interesting.
in Marquette, Michigan. So
Weinstefaner, straight from Bavaria. Mm-mm.
I've been enjoying all of your beer, Michigan.
Not all of it. There's still some left, right?
Right. Not as much as there was.
That's our third trip to the store. You're right. All right. So let's pick up. Let's talk about the training camp today. First off, the thing I know that everybody is the most anxious to hear about, update on the security situation.
Right.
The photos and videos and things. If you follow us on Twitter, you saw today that both of us were going nuts. When I got there today, I saw the guy who threatened me with a 5-day suspension. Walked up, had a good conversation with him. Once he started breathing again, no, I'm just joking. We put together a really good thing. He said, look, we don't know. The guys yelled at me in my ear that you're doing. I said, tell you what, it's just a regular phone. I'm going to hold up the roster sheet that you give us on the back of the phone with the white side showing so you see the camera can't go through, and then I can go ahead and type on it. Okay, that feel good? And he was like, yeah. He told everybody else, and it was great. I mean, yesterday, they were hawking us like crazy.
Yes,
I mean, they would not leave our area, and they were just staring at us the whole time. Today, we had came to a good conclusion, so I didn't get any crap. Case, though.
So we were free to shill for the Miami Dolphins.
Yes, we were shilled for the Dolphins and got them all kinds of intel ready for Super Bowl this year. Thank you for that. Case, though, didn't have that problem in the first place because he was credentialed media today.
Right.
He got to take our credentials.
And they don't harass the credentialed media.
I'm going to talk to them. We'll talk to security again tomorrow. Wait,
Right.
I'm the next one to go credentialed
Right.
media. Never mind. So we did take this as an opportunity to divide and conquer. The media sits in a different area, wholly separate. It's on the other side of fields, and they get a different view.
It's like a separate little bleacher area.
Yeah. So they see the far two fields from the fan bleachers. We get to see the close two fields. And we decided to take kind of, like I said, a divide and conquer approach so that we could get you more coverage. And we have a lot for you today. A lot went down in camp and good stuff. So really quick, we'll talk about what camp was today. It was a no pads day, probably in anticipation of the scrimmage Friday Night Fan Fest that they're going to do. So they'll be hitting there a little bit more popping, and they didn't want to get dinged up or anything like that. So today's was, I don't want to call it a skills competition, but it was truly a skills day.
Yeah.
The skill players would really show. Your line play, they're just putting hands, they're just placing muscle memory, that kind of stuff. You're not really able to assess a whole lot there. So don't expect a lot from of news or information from today about them. It is what it is. But last thing before we really get into the stuff here, I just want to let everyone know that thank you. Sorry, got to look at my notes right. Thank you very, very much. Had a lot of people come up. Met Mona Hanna, our attorney. She's a great interactor on Twitter. But people that I didn't know from Twitter, they didn't give me a Twitter name or anything. They just came up and said, hey, you're Chris, right? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, absolutely love the show. You guys are great. And it was like fathers with young kids. And, you know, we're listed as explicit on iTunes and all that. And it was like, okay, cool, right? I didn't necessarily think that was our demo, but it was cool. And then there was, professional, yuppie people that like our show. That's great, right? So it was great to see some nice people, and you came out and said hi and gave us great compliments. So thank you all very, very much. It really means a lot. It felt really good to hear from you guys. And sorry, I don't know how to gush in those situations, so I'll just say thanks now. Okay, so Case was credentialed. We're going to start out like he did at the beginning of the day. In the press room, Matt Patricia rolls in. Talk about it. Case
Okay. So I got there pretty early. Chris dropped me off and got in and have to walk into a little office there to get your media credential. And obviously, since they don't know me, they've never seen me before. They had to look everything up, and it took them a while. But they were very nice. So I spent about 10 minutes talking to the two folks in the media credential office and got made friends. So.
Which was unexpected, but it was required.
Right. But anyway, so they let me into the media room. You walk in there, it's just a bunch of tables, chairs with the podium up front, and the Lions logo stuff behind it. When I got there, the only two people who were there were Eric Schlitt, and Kyle Meinke. I met Eric Schlitt, and he was helping me out a little bit as far as yesterday. Giving me some pointers, some tips, some like understanding of what was going to happen when kind of thing. I walked up and introduced myself to Kyle. That was cool. Sat down and pretended to be busy for a while until the rest of the beat people started coming in, bringing cameras in, everything. Ian Rappaport showed up.
That's pretty cool, right? Little brush with semi-greatness.
Yeah, I ended up sitting next to him. I was sitting between him and Jeff Risdon on the bleachers for quite a while, but all the local names were there. Paula and Justin, who I met. We'll get into that.
Oh, did we get into that?
Jeremy Reisman and everybody everybody who writes that Burkett. I didn't introduce myself to Burkett, but they're all there, and Patricia wheels in on his scooter, like one of the he's got his leg up and he pushes, he wheels in. But he was in a really good mood. Or at least he was very cordial, very amenable to us. It was great.
To you in particular?
No, not to me in particular. Just the room. I did not, and I'm sorry. I know I got some people's hopes up, especially on the subreddit, that I was going to get a chance to ask a question. I'd kind of learned the day before that the chances of me doing that were slim. So I kind of expected that. I did not. It didn't feel right. I deferred to the veterans in the room and let them ask the questions. And it was a very limited amount of time. So it was maybe.
Were you carrying pads for them or anything today?
Yeah, right. It was maybe it was probably 15, maybe 20 minutes tops. Presser. So it wasn't like. Everybody in the room got to ask a question or anything like that. There really was, mostly it's just the main guys who were always there, that were asking things.
And it's pretty much meant as an info dump, right? Ahead of practice. I mean, it's here's what we want to say.
Yeah. And
you can help guide us to say the things we want to say anyway, right?
And he kind of explained what to expect out of the practice. He told us it was a no pads day. He said, somebody asked about it too, and he basically said we just make that determination kind of on a day by day, based on how much work we feel the guys have been putting in. They had 4 days in a row of padded practices, so they felt that they'd take a little bit easier day on, especially on some of the linemen today, just to make sure they're not overworking guys and causing problems in that way. Not that it was an easy practice for the guys on the field. There was a lot of it was physical. Yeah, I mean, a lot of running, a lot of and minor contact, and for real.
They were really grinding in.
But they just, he explained, they just have to kind of judge on a day by day what they feel is the right amount of work to do. He told us today the focus was on 2-minute drills, so that was awesome information to get beforehand before going out there. So when I knew what they were playing, knew what they were doing when they were running their scrimmage drills. Mm-hmm. I knew exactly what the plan was. That was fun.
I love the down and distance calls where they're doing situational setups. Definitely. Right? It's really great. Saw some great 4th down drills.
Yep.
There was
one
grab.
Weak drive by the offense near the end there, but we'll get into stuff.
I'm going to give away the show already. Right? It was a good day of practice. You love watching the skill players, guys, right? These guys are the spark, the ones that are so exciting to watch and so electric to see in the game. And as fun as the line is to watch and the impact that they have a game, just watching these guys put on a show like that is something special. It was really highly energetic today.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
They were using multiple fields more than they had the last couple of days.
Switching all over the place.
It was. I'm glad we were able to divide and conquer today because it was a perfect day to do that. We would have missed a lot otherwise.
So after the presser, they take us out to the stands where all the press folks sit and congregate and eat and joke around until things actually get started, underway. I got to meet, like I said, a few people. I told Justin Rogers that I'd meet him after practice for a fight in the parking lot. He seemed down with that. So
did you want to? Did he show? I didn't see him out there. He didn't show, did he?
I didn't see him. Yeah. He was shook. But one other thing, I didn't mention this before we did the show, but one of the problems with trying to watch the field that you guys were closer to is that Matt Prater is taking practice kicks directly towards the media booth the whole time. Well, not the whole time, but like during some of the main drills, and several of those balls landed in the media booth, so you're watching over there and all of a sudden you hear heads up, and whoa, go, and they're coming right at you. So you gotta keep your head on a swivel when you're in the media booth. I wonder if that's not an intentional placement, but like
yeah, right. They're doing some trickeration work, and it's like let's keep the media busy.
We don't want you guys to be comfortable over there.
Keep them busy. Keep them busy. All right.
No, but it was a great experience.
That's awesome. Great. I'm glad you had a good time. This is good. We got some good information. We sat down. I sat with Matt Baum, Kent Platt today.
Yep.
As always, this has become like a yearly tradition now. Every time I come to camp, we sit with him. He's just such a great guy.
Yeah.
And it's great trading knowledge.
Very smart. Very informative.
So. Love scheming things and thinking things through with him. He's just really a spectacular guy. So sat with him. We went out to lunch. We all kind of compared notes a little bit and challenged each other's thinking on a couple things. It was a really, really good time. So it was good. And now we're here in the post-lunch kind of snooze. You're between us and a nap.
Right,
so
right. I'm pepped up for the moment, but I won't be in about an hour. So
just so you know, it will be separate naps. Just so if anyone has any questions about that.
He says.
Yes.
I might be able to talk him into it.
All right, let's talk about some of the positional players out there today. Running backs continue to impress.
Yeah.
I saw a throw. It was a Stafford throw. Stafford we'll talk about him a little. He was a little bit more accurate today. Still had a couple of places where there was some issues. Savage was nice and accurate today. Fails continues to live up to his name.
I didn't see that much of Fails, to be honest, today. Whereas
they
I did
put him
yesterday.
off on his own. It was 1 and 2s working together a lot with him off on his own. But Carry-On took a nice pass, and it was a 75-yard.
It was a swing pass, but he would have broke it for a huge gain.
75 yards, and it looked like it would have been a touchdown based on how they were playing. Really smooth. It was a nice sharp cut, but you say that about him. A sharp cut, he still looks like he's gliding on the turf. You know, I was calling him last year really greasy, and he is. He's kind of like he's all like you greased him up, and he whoop, slides through, and he puts that cut on, and he was gone. Good, quick stuff. That was really, really good. What else did you see out there on the running backs?
With the running backs, they did drills right in front of us with the linebackers and running backs and tight ends. So it was like a linebacker would come up and they'd be down in like a face down on the ground and jump up and run forward, while the running back takes the ball and has to try to juke them, get around them, whatever. The running backs took advantage of most of the linebackers today. There was one that was good, but I'll get into that a little bit later. Took advantage of most of the linebackers. They even got C.J. Anderson, not necessarily known for his quickness, but he looked sharp today. Zach Zenner had a great cut at one point.
He had a couple drops today too.
Did he?
His hands weren't solid today. A couple of plays that were that dumb, like you're not going anywhere up the.
It was all the festivities for Zach Zenner Day. Got in his head.
He really got psyched out by Zach Zenner Day. But it was good. It was good. We weren't able to get to coach his I Love Zach Zenner shirt, but we do have one for him. So we'll see what we can do as we get to camp Sunday and Monday.
Yep. Carry-On looked great in that drill. The tight ends were less impressive, not surprisingly. I mean, they're not as quite as their job isn't necessarily to make the cuts. Tight ends in general, are we good with tight ends here?
Well, let's see. We'll cover them under wide receivers. How about that? All right. So we got running backs, wide receivers. Let's start out as a whole. The guys who wanted to look good today.
Yeah. Right? Well, the first three guys all looked fantastic.
Yep. And then the other guys maybe didn't, and we'll get into them individually.
We'll get a little bit more specific as we go. But
Amendola again today. No drops, no flying helmets. Has this intensity when he's on the field.
Every snap
and
he plays.
He plays hard. And the other thing was whenever he was on the sideline.
You might say he's scrappy.
I wouldn't. Whenever he's on the sideline, he finds Stafford or he finds the other wide receivers. Yeah. We talked about it a little yesterday, but he finds them and he's either coaching or he's working with them. And I watched one time he got to the sideline and this is great. Got to the sideline and he talked to Stafford for a couple minutes, and then after he got done talking to Stafford, he jumped up and did something else, and he came back and grabbed Stafford again and talked some more about it. It was really interesting. He is in there hard.
The best moment of the day was Danny Amendola. He scored a great touchdown. Most of the receptions he gets are very short routes and like catch and run situations. Where it's hard to really show off a lot, but he did have one really solid, deeper connection for a touchdown. There was a group of high school football players there for like a special, special invite at bleachers down below the media booth down here, and they'd been begging all day for like somebody to give them a ball. When Matt Prater was kicking balls, they're like over there like field goal over here, whatever. Like they're just begging for it, and nobody's paying him any attention. Danny scores the touchdown and runs over and throws the ball to him. bounces off the kid and lands back outside the barrier.
We've got a future Eric Ebron here.
The whole media booth just like losing their shit laughing because it was so funny. And he goes over, picks up the ball because he turned around, but then he hears him yelling. They turned around. He goes, picks up the ball, and like starts to look like he's gonna hand it to him, and just drops it, and trolled him so hard. I don't know if they ever got the ball or not. Hopefully, maybe somebody gave him one later. I don't know, but and he goes back and gets back in the drills. The next time he gets down the field, he like another one of those short catch and run situations. Well, he just keeps running and runs into the end zone. He stares right at him like as he's going by, and then like drops the ball again.
I almost guarantee he went there afterwards signing autographs and making up with them, and maybe they got a ball out of it. I can't see him being
right.
Although
it was just funny because like it was clearly
team,
like
someone should have been able to catch
he
that
went
ball.
and did something that he probably isn't actually supposed to do, but for these kids, and they messed it up, and he was like,
Yep. All right, next wide receiver, Marvin Jones. Good stuff today. Good stuff. 2 40-yard touchdowns out of Marvin today. Great throws from Stafford, Stafford. He got the ball downfield, landed it perfectly. Really, really beautiful plays. One of them was, we'll talk about it later, was one where our Warrior he fell. So we'll talk about him in a little bit because it's not all bad news by any stretch. But that was one of those big long touchdowns. Really, really beautiful play though. Wide open. And how many times early in Stafford's career and even before him with other quarterbacks, the Lions, you'd see someone like the coverage broke down, and he'd be wide open, and they'd overthrow him or underthrow him or miss him altogether. Right now, Stafford nailed it. It was a beautiful throw. So that was good. Anything else from Marvin today that you want to?
No, I mean, over on my side of the field, what I saw was mostly solid, unspectacular, but solid. So it's awesome, that he also had some spectacular thrown in there. So like, good day from Marvin for sure. It's pretty clear he's back up to full strength right now. So
excellent. All right, moving to Kenny G. I didn't see a lot from Kenny today. I saw his ankles are still very, very thin. That hasn't changed. I think Zenner's thumb is as wide as Kenny's ankles. Right. Maybe it could be, but he didn't look bad. Again, he wasn't a standout one way or the other. He was just out there today from what I saw.
Except that he did have, and this seems to be a trend. He had one of the plays of the day where I think it was Rashaan Melvin. We're going to talk about Rashaan Melvin too because he actually had a good day. But I think it was Rashaan Melvin. I could be wrong about that. Was tight in coverage with him, just all over him, just blanketing the whole his whole body, and somehow he managed to reel in a body catch and it was one of the better catches that I've seen. Certainly top 2 or 3 that I've seen the last 2 days.
Awesome. Okay, good stuff from Kenny then. Hawk, very quiet. We're putting him in the wide receivers just because he kind of is.
Well, I think you say
quiet,
that
but solid
about all the tight ends. There wasn't any major ups or downs. We saw some passes to Jesse James. None of them were, but it's exactly kind of what you want to see out of a guy like Jesse James. It wasn't like they weren't massive, but they were like the kind of passes that would be very important in games, moving the chains kind of passes.
Yeah. Unremarkable but solid.
Right.
That's
what you
exactly
what you wanted to see.
Unless he's spectacular. I mean, if he was a spectacular catcher, that'd be great. But you don't expect it, right? That's not something that you're from Hockenson. You are expecting those kind of catches, right? You need.
And we didn't see any of those from Hawk today. We did see 1 or 2 yesterday. Yep. So Hawk is doing a damn fine job, so there's no reason for concern there. Nauta, I can never pronounce his name. Nauta had it also, solid day.
Yeah.
So Thomas, I think had a drop at one point, but Nauta didn't have anything like terrible that I noticed either. So I mean, all around, a good if unexciting day from tight ends.
Now, so we're talking about wide receivers. We lumped the tight ends with them, and we're kind of talking in rank order of how they did really today. Then there's the rest. Right. There's one person in particular that we talked about today who,
fan favorite.
Yeah. Kent today, called him a gadget guy. I don't think he's wrong at all. I think that was a good characterization. Just don't see him making the team. Not that we don't like him, right? But just how the team is built and who's where and how he's performing. Just don't see him on the roster.
Brandon Powell.
Yeah.
And he had a rough day. And I watched about 4 reps in a row from him where it was just a disaster. He fell down on one of them. He dropped one of them. He just completely got bodied on another one. It was just a bad day for him. I think I saw him with one good catch, but with all the it was the only time I think I saw him make a catch all day.
Mm-hmm.
So it was.
Didn't see anything from Fulgham today.
Yeah,
pretty
he
quiet out
played.
there.
He played some down where I was, but it was pretty quiet.
Yeah.
Pretty quiet afternoon for him. Not bad, just quiet.
And that's fine for a guy who he stands out sometimes and doesn't. Unremarkable days are okay for rookies if it's not, you know, if you can intersperse good days. If you're interspersing unremarkable with
Well,
bad
we're going
days,
to talk about the same. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
well,
different
yeah.
kind of- yeah.
We'll get into another player, another rookie in
Okay.
a little bit. But
So anybody else in the wide receiver core that you want to talk about that stood out? Did you know,
they
excellent
put Chris
quarterback?
Lacey to work today,
Yeah.
and it wasn't like he was doing incredible, and he was up and down, but it was kind of like they did with Ty Johnson yesterday. And I actually we talked about running backs. I almost didn't see Ty Johnson. They did see him make one really good catch,
Great
which
catch and run.
keeps me thinking. You know, after they hadn't been using him in the pass game earlier in training camp, that's changed a little bit. So I think that's a strong likelihood of his usage going forward. But just didn't see much of him.
Yep.
But they were just throwing to Chris Lacey left and right for a little while there, and I don't know that he did enough with it to make a difference. But it was just, it's interesting to note when they focus on a guy for a little while.
Yep.
Because it was 4 or 5 plays in a row they threw to him.
Yep. Okay, we're gonna hit on something.
Andy Jones had an average.
He had a drop. He had a bad drop. We saw earlier. I
He had
groaned
also
out
had
loud.
the worst drop I've ever seen yesterday.
Yeah, so
like,
we'll see. So really quick, I want to hit on another topic. We'll get back to football. The party. The party's tomorrow night, 6 to 10 p.m. Now, we know about the Family Fun Fest. We talked about it a little bit and said, you know what? There's plenty of time. Party's going till 10 o'clock, and then there's the after party. They're not kicking us out right away. If you're going to the Ford Family Fun Fest and you want to come by, it's what Dan Miller's trying to do. He's got to get out of there, but he's pretty sure he can. Fly by, join us. We're gonna do like a $10 cover charge though, because we still have to pay for the room.
Right.
But if the food part is gonna be okay with everyone we got. But if you want to come later, join us. It's gonna be awesome. We're gonna have a great time. Love meeting everybody. Love seeing everybody. It's been a great experience. As I said earlier, it was great, just amazing people.
Yeah.
Just coming up and say hi. It was really, really cool. So you want to do something after that? Come on down. We're free. We're gonna hang out all night. We'll talk to everybody. We'll drink. We'll do the whole thing. If you don't have to drink, we'll do it for you. But we're gonna have some fun. We're also doing that show. We're not sure when we'll show the video. Maybe we'll do it twice. We might do it a little later in the night too, after we do the show, so more people can see it. The great Blandino video. You guys are gonna love it. Straight up, it's pretty cool. So if you want to go and you want to go for the whole thing from 6 to 10, it's $30. Includes dinner, drinks, the whole thing. Go party.detroitlionspodcast.com. If you want to come later, we'll just do like a $10 charge, just so we can, like I said, cover the room costs. We lost money last year. We're trying to break even this year, so if you can help us out, we appreciate that where you do. So the party.detroitlionspodcast.com. Okay, so we're done with that now. Let's move on. Jelani Tavai. Have you heard of him before? Some people were talking about him every now and then. No.
Who is that?
People keep asking, right? No one knows who he is. So anyway, Jelani Tavai was out there. Look, I don't want to say it was a bad day, but it wasn't a good day.
It was probably a bad day, but
he was beaten in coverage, and that's what he was asked to do in a lot of the drills in front of us today, and he just got beaten repeatedly. Again, yesterday he showed he's got like 2 or 3 moves on a pass rush, and sometimes it works, a lot of time it doesn't. He just got plain beaten by the running backs out there a couple times today. I didn't see him break up anything. I'm trying to remember. I don't think he did break anything up. I don't know that he even stopped anyone on the 7 or 8 reps that he had. Not great. He, again, as a tight end, and we've seen ourselves getting burned as a team over the middle with the tight ends and slot receivers. We need him to be able to step up and get into coverage there. So hopefully we see some growth there. It's something we're going to have to watch. And maybe we'll have to use him a little differently than any kind of coverage role as a linebacker.
Well, we'll see. I mean, there's plenty of time for development. We'd love to see him start week 1, but that isn't, necessarily the way things are going to shake out.
I think he will, and he's just going to learn by fire. There's another guy we had a question about, Mr. Will Harris. How did he do today?
Ooh, bad day, Will Harris. It seemed like every time he was in a rep against a wide receiver, he was given a massive amounts of separation. It didn't seem to matter who the wide receiver was either. So again, there's a reason that he, fell to where he did in the draft. There's a reason why there was some skepticism about him. I try not to read too much into a bad day at camp, because guys have bad days at camp, especially rookies. So I'm not here to say that Will Harris is garbage or anything like that. it just that today was not a good day for him.
Yeah.
He was slow and out of not reading, reacting very quickly.
Yep. So there it is. That's the take on him. No hate against any of these guys. Right? It's strictly an evaluation of where they are and how they perform. So we'll move on. There's another guy people are interested in. I'm interested in this guy because this is a multi-year kind of a project thing. You know, cornerback, right? Armani Warrior. Gosh. Shouldn't have had that last beer. So he was out there today. He had a great day and a terrible day at the same time. Marvin Jones had a 40-yard touchdown over our Warrior, thanks to a falling down Armani. Our Warrior.
Falling down.
Fell down, blew it. Same deal a little bit later. Our Warrior's there. They're doing red zone. They're at like the 8-yard line. I believe it was Stafford. I missed that, so don't take it as gold that it was Stafford. Threw the ball, intercepted by our Warrior on the sideline of the end zone. So he had some really good plays. He had some bad play for sure. Had a whole lot of it in the middle plays. We've talked about it a million times. 3 years for a cornerback to develop. Is he going to be on the field on day one? Sure,
Probably
freaking hope not, right? We do not want to see that. I want to see him grow. I think there's you can see a lot of raw talent in this guy. I think from what I've seen right now, he looks like a guy that's going to bring a lot to this team in time. Now, the thing that makes this whole mention and all these reps that he got interesting is, and it wasn't until we met for lunch, Kent Platt, I keep calling him Math Bomb, right? It's just Twitter handle.
Right.
Kent and I and Glenn, who had joined us, one of our Patreon people, he came and hang out, went to lunch. None of us saw Teez Tabor, and there was no report of injury. There was like, no, he's not injured. We're like, is this a case where our Warrior stepped over Tabor in the depth chart? And you said then later at lunch that you had seen Tabor.
We saw Tabor. They were doing, they'll do these drills where there's two quarterbacks on the field and they'll run one wide receiver against cornerback on one side, and then as soon as that's over, they'll run it, and then just like back and forth. And so we watched that for quite a while, and Teez was bad today in that. So it does not surprise me in the least that our Warrior is getting the opportunity at least to step up.
So we may see our first depth chart move, and then we go back to the 3 years that we talk about for a cornerback.
This is year
3 for Teez. So we'll see how this plays out and what happens. He may wind up being a backup down the road that we hope we don't have to see. I mean, we had to call him into action last year, and maybe it's a case. I mean, remember, and this is something I love to bring up because people sometimes forget. Slay was benched for bad play as a cornerback. He's our number one now, and everyone's 100% sure he's our number one.
Yep.
Not saying Teez can't be it. It's not a likely scenario, right? But if he has to, and he keeps working like he has been this year, and he can get pressed to really push up, he may come in and suddenly be, something better than we think he is right now. But right now, it doesn't look like the Tabor experiment's panning out.
Not yet. I will tell you the reason that our Warrior is not cracking the starting lineup is that Rashawn Melvin is fairly confident, in my opinion, if today is an indication of how well he's been playing overall, got a lock on that cornerback 2 position. He was great, very sticky in coverage, all over guys. Like I said, the Galladay got that pass that I think was against him, but it was a spectacular catch. It wasn't like he was in bad position. It was a great play by him. He had several pass breakups, just blanketing guys. I was very impressed. I think he'll make a very fine cornerback 2 if he plays in real games the way he did in training camp. Obviously, that's a pretty big jump. So I'm not here to try to make any major assumptions. But man, it was a really good day from him, and it boosted my confidence that that as long as Slay is out there, that we will have at least a mild upgrade at the cornerback 2 position.
So then let's move on to the guy that we always believe is our slot corner. You talked about Justin Coleman at lunch today. Said he didn't have a good day.
He didn't.
I didn't ask you though where he was playing. Was he playing a slot type role or was he playing an outside
role? In most
role?
of the drills that I saw, it was mostly him up against Marvin Jones and outside wide receivers. And Marvin was having a great day, so it's tough for both guys to have a great day, in those kind of situations. But they're playing him, but they were playing him, in those drills like he was an outside cornerback. So it's tough to really gauge whether or not, how he works as a slot corner when they're, testing him as an outside. And it's not like they run a lot of slot corner stuff. I mean, I don't think he was the one covering Danny Amendola, who's basically the only wide receiver that was running, mostly extremely short routes. So it was a rough day for him, but it's tough to read too much into it from me.
Yep. Okay. One step back to Amendola again, and you guys may and gals may find that I'm pretty high on Amendola right now. I really like what I've seen.
Yeah, me too.
And we talked a little bit about that relationship with him and Stafford and just the intensity he has. They were off the field. A couple other guys ran their reps. Boom, ones, get on the field, ones. Had a 20-yard play that they spit out, and it was out there. He did his reads straight to Amendola. I mean, this Amendola character, if you've heard of him before, looks like he's going to wind up being a significant part of the offense, but a bit of that security blanket role that we've talked about for Stafford. He really seems like that guy, and if he can stay healthy. And when I said that earlier today, I had 3 people say he can't. But if he can stay healthy, this is a key player for Matthew Stafford this year.
He's certainly the spiritual successor to Tate, the way it looks.
Yeah. Okay, one last player we want to cover. Had a good day again. Love seeing this. This is a guy that I've been rooting for. Had a tough first year, and people were down on him. Jared Davis, and he had a breakup in pass coverage. Jared Davis looked
both
really,
today and
really
yesterday.
Good. Ran the drill. It was C.J. Anderson, and they were putting their, they come out, do a couple moves. A couple guys put in some pretty tight moves on these guys. C.J. Anderson beat Jared Davis with his move. The ball came, and Davis had recovered, gotten there, knocked the ball down, such that Anderson was hot. I mean, he was hot and pissed. He was cursing, slapped the hands, and then it was pretty significant, I thought, for Davis, who's not known for his coverage skills,
right?
to be able to not only recover but do so in a way that pissed off C.J. Anderson. Not that I like C.J. I do like C.J. Mad actually, because that's how I want him to run, right? Because I think he'll kill some people out there. But no, it's really great. It was good to see Davis. I like Davis's improvement and his arc of skill growth over the seasons. This looks to be a good one for him.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. I do want to say one thing about C.J. Anderson, because there's been talk about his shirts and stuff that he wears. There's something that I cannot unsee it now that it hit me in the head, and I don't want to be mean, right? C.J.'s not a tall guy, right?
No, he's very short.
And I'm not making fun of his height.
He and Danny are probably the 2 shortest guys on the team.
Yeah, but then he wears all those shirts too.
Yeah.
Everyone says, "Oh, he looks like a bowling ball." I'm gonna say, and it's because of the shirts. I'm not saying anything else, but I'm gonna say I keep saying it. He looks like the chubby kid on the Pop Warner team, running around out there because he's just this little guy. And then he goes and he destroys. Right? He absolutely destroys.
I don't know how he wears that much clothes out there when he's running like he is, but oh well.
It's smoking hot out there. So
actually, we've been relatively fortunate the last few days.
We've been suffering for you.
It hasn't been, as hot as it was,
We've been suffering for the art.
We've been suffering for you.
There you go. See, Case said it. All right, that's pretty good. I think that covers everything I had. Case, did you have anybody else?
I think that's about it. We're probably missing a few things here and there, but as time goes on, we'll be able to fill in some gaps. So.
Yep. Okay. So we've got this going on tomorrow. Ford Field. We're going to be there for a private tour, and then the party that tomorrow night. Case, unfortunately, will be leaving us then on Saturday. I will be at camp still on Sunday and on Monday. I'll have the credential on Monday on Patriots Day. I'll be tweeting like crazy both times, and there probably won't be live streams, but we'll try to put something together, whether it's a written report or something else.
One thing that Jeff Risdon has mentioned several times to me is that Patriots joint practices are worthless for trying to glean any information, because they just do drills. And drills, but nothing that is informative in any way. So, I would possibly prepare for some slow news days next week.
Oh, I bet for the Lions it's not slow.
Maybe we'll see.
All right, cool. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you at the party. And make sure, like we said, if you get your tickets, party.DetroitLionsPodcast.com. We got some good stuff there. Or if you want to come after the Fan Fest a little bit later, we'll do like a $10 cover. You can get in and have fun with us and enjoy your time. All right. Thank you all for joining us. Detroit Lions Podcast Training Camp Report. Anything else from you, Case?
I'm good.
All right. Love you all. See you.